Do all Challenger players view League of Legends the same way? Do they share the same opinions on controversial topics surrounding League like elo inflation and Riot's balancing team? I brought together 8 Challenger League of Legends content creators to discuss about such topics and find out what Thai elo players and content creators really think about the game.
Hello guys, I've been streaming for 5 years now. I'm probably the best Vladimir in the world, I assume at least. I don't think anyone matches my skill level, and I'm here for my beloved Pusi Crew.
Okay guys, well I'm Spearshot, and I have been fluking it to Challenger on Pantheon every season for a couple of years now.
Hello guys, I'm Lathyrus. I'm a decent bot player. I've played for, 6 years now and streamed for a few years, and I'm just here because Pusi Crew told me to be here.
Yo guys, I'm Dragdar. I'm the #1 Ezreal in the world, if you don't count the Chinese super server Ezreal, because it's not stats websites. I've got 2 1k LP accounts in Challenger, and yeah, I've been playing Ezreal for like 6 months.
Hello guys, I'm Natty, and I'm the 3rd best Rengar West.
Hey guys, I'm Potent213. I've been streaming for 3 years. I'm an average Fiora player on the European server, and Pusi invited me here to answer some questions.
I'm Raion. I peaked higher than Pusi and Netty, so I guess I'm the best in US. And yeah, that's me.
Yeah, my name is Sakuritou. I'm the only and the best Joker player in the world. I picked 900 LP Challenger, and yeah, that's me.
I believe that Rengar is broken.
Okay, Riot is Potent and Spear. So you say Rengar's broken. Tell me why. Start with Potent.
Okay, I'm gonna start. Well, if you go by broken, that means compared to most junglers. So first of all, Rengar can be a flex pick. It can be played top and jungle. And honestly, I think it's kind of underrated in top lane. And you didn't specify jungle, so I'm gonna do a bit of both. I think in top lane, it's like A tier if played well, right? So I'd consider that to be pretty strong. And in jungle, I think compared to the majority of junglers right now, I think he's pretty good, in a good position.
Potent's right and all, but there's 3 Rengars here, and I wanted to piss you all off by agreeing that he's broken. Really
respected.
And also, he actually annoys me. I can't think of a jungler that annoys me more than Rengar outside of Evelyn.
His W is broken, but the rest of his kit, but the rest of his kit is really easy to counter. You just pick Lulu support or some shit, and you press ult when he jumps in, and it's unplayable. He has so much counter stuff, but his W is broken. I agree, but that's it.
I think that the champion cannot really end games. It's very hard to end games because you have no bushes in the Nexus. So if they just don't want to FF, it's very hard to actually end the game. His bruising is pretty good, but other than that, he's pretty weak.
Season 13 ladder is inflated, and anyone reaching a new peak likely doesn't deserve their rank.
So you said that the ladder's inflated and that people don't deserve their rank, right? I feel like the ladder inflated part is true, but not that they don't deserve their rank. I think if you get the rank, even though it's like inflated, you still deserve it, right? You did what you need to do to get it. Just compared to previous seasons, it might not be as difficult. I think the inflation applies a lot below Challenger and like mid Grandmaster. Obviously in Masters, there's like massive inflation. But I don't think it applies that much for like silver, gold, bronze, maybe a bit in platinum and diamond. But in general, it only affects like a minor part of the community. That's why I stood in the middle, because I feel like it was half true, half false.
So generally, I don't think the new ladders are very good. I think the main issue really stems with as much as they might have, like, last season, let's say they were Master 0 LP, and now they're Master 300 LP. On paper, it looks like they got a lot better, right? But if you just look at the full-on ladder rank, they're the exact same rank. Inflation's just pushed their number higher up to make them feel better, that they actually improved, but they are the exact same rank. And that's an issue that goes throughout the entire game right now. So no, I don't think you increasing in rank, unless it's by a ton, actually means that you got better at all.
In the wise words of Zlators, it doesn't matter what rank you are in the rank tab, it matters what rank you are in your heart.
Based.
Damn.
That's true.
It's the rank that you feel.
Actually, true though.
What about...
Like, more than other seasons than I've ever seen before, I've seen so many players on the ladder, because I'm a loser and I just look through it like this, that have literal negative win rate, and they're like 500 LP master, and you might think that's because the season before they were like high challenger or something. They had really high MMR account, and so they could climb even with a lower win rate. But that's not the case. Like I've looked into half of them, and most of them are just like if not lower LP or like same rank as they are now last season, and then literally negative win rate 500 LP master. Like I don't think that should be a thing, you know. And I can only say that's a testament to the changes they made with LP gains and things like that, you know.
Oh, it's so true. But like fresh accounts, how f***ing OP are they?
Yeah,
I swear,
true.
silver player
True.
can make a new account and he will be platinum. Does that mean he's a platinum player?
I feel like what Potent said's true. Challenges remain the same. Obviously, it's always top 300 players. But Masters feels massively inflated. And there's often where you're playing, like, even if you queue up and you're Challenger, you're still going to every now and then get a Masters player. And the guy can be horrible.
Yes.
But he's technically Masters. You can be Grandmasters as well and still get a Masters player in your team. And the guy could be absolutely horrible, but he's playing in a lobby of like top 1,000 players.
Masters
And
is
it's just because I don't know what happened with the threshold or the LP gains, but there's so many Masters players now. When it used to be the case where it was like top 3,000 players were Masters. Now it's like top almost 20,000.
It's almost 20,000. That's insane.
I mean, there's more players in Master than Diamond 1 and Diamond 2, so...
I think also that there's like way larger dips and peaks now with the new LP change.
Yeah.
Which like forces people to think they are like better than they probably are. But at the same time, the rank obviously, like if you just look at the, like you don't care about the LP and you just look at the rank, it's always going to be the same. And it doesn't really matter if there's more people in Masters or not.
One thing I want to add, okay, you might think I'm delusional, but I think in season 13, there isn't that much inflation compared to season 12 and 11 relative to seasons before that. What I mean is that I think the big inflation happened in season 11 and 12, where there were like countless abuse strats with you MMR stack on promos, fresh accounts, transfers. What else was there? There's many more, right? But like that's only
release.
That's promos.
Do you guys but also, do you guys remember like 2 seasons ago in D1, your LP gains were horrible. Like it was always the case. Like 2+ years ago, when you get D1, you'd always lose more LP than you earn. You guys remember? Now it's unaffected. Like you get to D1, you can still be earning 27 LP a game and losing 20. Like it doesn't matter. You can just climb anyway.
And then once you get Masters, it's like your LP gains were unlocked.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's how it was. Do you remember? D1 was actually hard to climb through because the LP games were messed up. So you needed like a 60% win rate to actually get the Masters, minimum.
Riot's balancing team gets way too much flame. They are doing a great job overall.
Oh, we're split on this. Holy.
I like that.
So I've been playing top lane for the whole season. I've never seen the state of top lane this bad in a while. We've had bad picks like Aatrox being broken. At least he's skill expressive. We'd have picks like Camille, who's been broken in the past for like a long period of time. At least they were difficult to pilot. We've got picks like Malphite, Gragas, and Olaf, who have been broken since the start of the season. Or like in patch 13.7 or something? What patch are we in? And nothing's happening. They don't care. Olaf just got nerfed this patch, but he was broken for no joke 7 patches in a row, and everyone was complaining about it. Same thing with Malphite now. Finally, he's getting a nerf, and Gragas needs a nerf, and I think it's just taking too long for nerfs to come through. It's taking way too long. That's why I think. They do get round to nerfing them, but the champ's in the game for way too long. That's it. They just need to get like fast on the nerfs, and it's not difficult. Everyone knows Malphite needs a nerf right now, but they're just taking like it took 4 extra patches to nerf him.
I think the League community is f***ing spoiled, and I don't think they have ever tried to play a different competitive game if they think the League balance team is bad at what they're doing. Because for as much as this game changes every second week with patches, as much as there sometimes are outlier champions, there's over 160 champions, and it's very rarely that there's any champions that are game-breaking. There might be a bit too good champions, but overall, the game is in a very balanced state permanently, as much as we love to shit on them.
Yeah, I want to add to that, and just to like approach it from like a sort of game dev perspective for people that aren't like sort of versed in that kind of thing. I don't think your average player quite understands the amount of like delicate tinkering required to like not immediately just completely break a game that has 160 champions, like 100 different items, all different rune sets, and how everything can individually interact with each other. And being able to just change like small things can have like such a massive butterfly effect on how it will affect the game. And that takes like a lot of effort to actually, how do I say it, like change correctly without just like making game ranking champions. Like I don't even remember the last thing that was like super broken. and like players don't think about that and just see. I will say, I do think they are a bit slow on certain nerfs. Again, like Olaf, Malphite right now, they're completely ridiculous. But outside of that, like I've had I don't think I've played against a champion where it's like, oh, that's so like completely unfair for me in ranked. It's like there's nothing I can do about it. You know, I haven't dealt with that, and yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So.
What about the meta where everyone just bought Rod of Ages and Seraph's Embrace and went 4k HP and still one-shot everyone? Completely outscaling everyone and one-shotting everyone.
I think the issue for you there is that you're only looking at it from an assassin point of view.
Yeah,
and that completely countered your playstyle, but it didn't counter the entire game. It's a 5v5, and other classes was easily able to actually deal with it. Just not your class.
Maybe not easily though.
One tricks are just like seeing the game from a completely different perspective. We can't adapt, like we can adapt builds, but our champion is good and bad in metas usually, unless champions have really adaptable builds. But like especially Rengar one tricks, we are the most biased because they are. I agree.
It ends up making a mage class into bruiser class instead.
I agree with Raion.
I agree with that the mage class is just no longer really mages. They are like battle mages or something like that now.
It's the same with assassins. Assassins are also bruisers now because you can't play Rengar assassin at the moment. It has to be like Eclipse or some shit, just bruiser Rengar and stuff. Like every assassin has become bruiser at the moment. Talon as well. Talon plays Black Cleaver, whatever. It's always bruiser. No assassin really makes it at the moment.
No, I fully agree. But that's not really balancing. That's just them making the game a different direction, right? Maybe they should just rename the classes, right? Because
that would be, I agree.
Can I say something?
Netty, also waiting for you.
I think one thing they're really bad at is like champions being either like pick or ban or completely dog water. Like Seri was for 2 patches, like never picked at all, like literally never picked a single game. I think like 45% win rate, something like that. And then before that she was pick or ban, and now she's basically pick or ban as well. And Aatrox was like pick or ban for like a whole year almost, and now he's never seen ever. Which I think is very boring that they can't find like a middle ground to anything. And I think some part of that is probably because of pro play ruining a lot of like casual gameplay oriented team comps and things like that. But it's kind of boring for us who don't play pro play, right?
No, that's so true.
I one thing I want to talk about was so I agree with Dragdar in the fact that there's so much data that's being like assimilated, and whenever we're looking at patches, we're looking at like the patches individually without looking at the bigger picture, right? And I'm sure like the devs at Riot Games have obviously plans for the pro play in the long run. But the issue I have, right, I might be a bit biased as a Fiora main, is my biggest issue with all the patches that have been happening is that they remove the fun and innovative aspect about League. Like for me, so many changes regarding items, durability patch. Okay, turret doing more damage is debatable, right? But many things like this, they remove this kind of innovative and creative sense in the game, where it's like this, like whenever season 11 came out and there was new items, I feel like the game was fresh. Like there's new items, so many things to experiment, test. It's like innovative, right? It's fun. But then now it just feels super scale. It's either you conform or you suffer, right? And that's what I don't like about the state of the game. It's going into like this very monotone and stable thing that I don't like.
Do you guys think they should consider low elo when it comes to the balancing?
No.
No.
Me neither. But they do way too much.
Let them fend for themselves. Who cares?
I
disagree.
I think what they're doing is good right now, right? Because they balance around both low elo, mid elo, high elo, and elite, or whatever they call it, right? Like they have 4 brackets where they balance around it, and I think that's super smart. Like
I
they
agree.
will nerf a champion that might be super balanced in high elo, but because it is really good in low elo, they buff or nerf it, right? Or they change a champion like Master Yi because he was a big ass problem in low elo and he was weak as in high elo. Now we can argue he might be a bit too strong in high elo, but he's actually playable in low elo.
I mean, about the balancing, I'd say, like, I think Riot Games is good at balancing, it's just a little bit slow. Like, if you compare it to other MOBAs, like Heroes of the Storm, Smite, even Dota 2, like, there are so many game-breaking characters in that game that you can't really have these characters in League of Legends. It's just that they are very, very slow at fixing characters that are broken.
Loser's queue does not exist.
So Loser's Queue exists, but not the way people believe it. It's kind of like this self-fulfilling prophecy where they believe that they're with losers, so they will play worse and automatically like sacrifice the game. So it's like kind of in that sense, loser queue exists, right? Because they believe in it. So that's why I agree that it exists, but not in the way that most people believe.
Okay. But I think you need to specify your definition of losers queue then, because that's like a separate thing.
Okay. In that case, my definition would be like, I think it's what most people think, where it's like, oh, whenever I'm winning, like Riot puts you in winner's queue, so you get like the winner's high, addiction, and then in loser's queue, so you get like the downfall, just to get you addicted. I think that's a classic definition, right?
I think that people like just enjoy finding patterns in things. So if they lose a lot of games in a row, they want to like name it something, and most people just name it losers queue then, and then they'll win a lot of games in a row and they'll be like, oh, winners queue. I don't think it actually, almost like Potent says, it's something we say ourselves, and it's not game dev created.
I think the general player base of people in solo queue in League, I'm just going to say it, have a pretty weak mental, and a lot of the time it is easier for them to spend energy in finding an out for themselves rather than taking responsibility for their gameplay. And when they lose several games in a row, they think to themselves, okay, let me just, deflect responsibility on my teammates and then be like, okay, it's not my fault. I'll just keep playing and maybe things will get better. Like Riot will put me in better games and whatnot. That being said, I have been seeing with like Scenarius, my own match history, yours, Spearshot, I've been seeing people's match histories, and it is literally a wall of red and then a wall of blue over and over again cycling. But again, like I still don't believe it's actually a thing,
Yeah, but when I lose like that, I know it's a mental problem. Like I can tell. I know I'm having because like sometimes I'll be maybe just entertaining stream and I'm genuinely just not focused on improving like that day. So I usually end up losing. That's how you know it's not an actual case of losers queue or winners queue for me anyway. Because when I'm like fully focused and I'm not reading chat, I'm just playing the game and I'm in the zone, I win like 70% of my games usually. But then there's other days where, maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe you're tired, maybe I didn't get enough sleep. It's not really a case of my teammates ever. It's honestly a case of me.
I feel like very often you don't realize that you're actually playing worse. You gaslight yourself into thinking, no, it's just my teammates. But like unconsciously you are playing worse, but you don't realize it. So you just blame it on anything else. I mean, you think you're playing to perfection, but you're just doing mistakes and don't.
When you're in the zone, you don't even focus on your teammates. Like when you're in that like mindset of constantly wanting to improve, you don't even know if your team's playing badly. Like you're so focused on trying to get better, it doesn't matter if your bot lane's 0-4. Like you win anyway, or you'll try your best to win, and if you lose, it's whatever. You just continue. You play the next game, and for the most part, you'll probably win a majority of your games. But
what you said, Pusi, is really, really true, actually. It's like people don't realize how bad they're playing whenever they're, it's like whenever, there's another study on, like, whenever you're drunk, you don't realize how drunk you are, like, for example, right?
Yeah.
I still have something to say about Losers Queue. I think Losers Queue half exists, but it exists because last season only. Okay, like, not this season. This season, Losers Queue doesn't exist. But it's because last season, if you look on OPGG and you scout your teammates and your mid lane Vladimir is on 7-game loss streak, you're gonna think, today I'm going to lock in my 30% win rate Aphelios. This game's f***ing doomed anyways. And that chains into itself, and then you have the shittest match history, and it gets shitter and shitter. And that's the same reason why, if you try to pick another champion, like if I pick Yone, and last season, I don't know, let's say Upset sees me pick Yone, he's going to say, oh my god, elite on Yone, I go f***ing my 30% win rate Lucian. And that happens again and again, and that spirals in itself, and then it makes it really f***ing hard to have good win rate. And I have the proof, because this season, I've got positive win rate on everything.
Facts, you're so right, Elite.
Yes.
Same thing happens to me when I play anyone but Pantheon.
True.
Yeah, but this season, because of Anonymous Q, it actually works, and I have really positive win rate, and I do really well every game. Real
Why do you
and true.
think it is so often that people, when they start a fresh account, at one point they just drop? Like they get insane win rate, like 70% win rate, 800 LP for me, for example, and then I just went down to 500 LP. And people say it's the win rate. Riot wants to fix the win rate, wants to drop your win rate by giving you losers queue. You guys think that exists or not?
No, I disagree. No, I think the same top players in Challenger can get it with the same win rate every single time if they wanted to.
Okay.
Though to be fair, I think it's understandable that people are skeptical because I think other games have done this, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's in a company's interest to want to do something like that.
Exactly.
To keep people hooked. So that's why people believe that, right?
Riot should implement voice chat.
I think voice chat is like a kind of a double-edged sword, right? I feel like if they implement voice chat, there's many other things they have to implement, like monitoring games, especially in Grandmaster Plus, I think it's too hard to monitor games in Masters, too many games, because we know the trends. Like, I want to add to that, I don't think there should be voice chat below Master. Way too much like sexism, homophobia, racism, toxicity that's already a core part of the community, I feel like. So to add voice chat to that type of community, it wouldn't be beneficial if you're below Master. So I think it should be at an elo where the games are able to be monitored and people have consequences for what they say, which I don't think is possible if you just do it in like the random abysses of Iron 4.
But Valorant works.
I just want to add a point. In Valorant,
I want to add as well.
In Valorant, it literally exists. They have like voice recording tracking for literally every matchmaking game in every elo, and it works like perfectly well. And you get punished. And
really, but I would imagine there's ways to go around that.
I mean, maybe, but there's ways to go around anything. You know, like in chats, you can ping your abilities to spell out words and shit like that. You know, I don't think it's any different for any communication system.
That's fair.
I genuinely think with voice chat enabled in high elo, like Masters Plus, I honestly think there'll be less toxicity, not more.
Okay,
that's why.
Hear me out on this then, Spearshot. A challenger player queues up. He doesn't feel like wanting to speak or join the call. Now his team is playing on a disadvantage, or his team will be annoyed from the start of it because someone doesn't feel like they want to talk because they are in a home and his mother or father or child or something is sleeping, so he can't be loud.
I mean,
so now he's playing on a disadvantage, and everyone is tilted from the get-go.
No. I think that's an exaggeration, Lathyrus. We still have games, anyway. We still have chat. There's games like CSGO, Valorant, where voice is enabled. People don't speak all the time. There's people that don't, but they make calls, they ping, they type in chat, they make whatever it is, right? The same thing can be done with League, and I think the ping system on League is actually easier to use than it is on CSGO or Valorant. So I honestly don't think it's going to be too much of an issue.
But they can't even monitor the chat. How do you expect them to monitor the voice?
Okay, that's a different issue. But I honestly think if it's just Masters Plus, it shouldn't be too much of an issue anyway.
It's gonna get.
Maybe they can't even monitor the griefers in Master Plus. How should they monitor the fucking voice chat?
If they don't monitor it, like personally, I don't see that as an issue. If like there's someone saying
be
something
realistic.
Stupid, if someone's saying something constantly stupid in high elo, because remember we're only saying it should be enabled in Masters Plus, then it will be caught on stream one day, it will be caught by a pro player or something. So it's gonna become common knowledge at some point if he's constantly flaming. If it's a one-off, I can't guarantee that anything's gonna happen. But if there's a guy who's constantly toxic, he'll get caught out. Even if it's voice chat.
There is known toxic players on the ladder that doesn't get banned. Because they don't care.
That is just a testament to them playing around the system that already exists with like text. Like I have seen people that type shit, they will get immediately banned, especially with the like systems now. I report them, I get a notification immediately. And the people that don't get banned are the people that like intentionally go around the system, and that will always exist, you know.
I think it makes sense if it's Masters Plus, because these are players that take it seriously. I don't think it's needed in lower elos because no one really cares. People are just logging in to have fun. It's not that complex and complicated. But in pro play, they use mics for a reason. Like it helps with the competitiveness of the game. It helps actually set up plays and it keeps everyone on the same page. If I'm playing Pantheon, who's dumb as hell, when I'm O'ring in, like 50% of the time, even in Challenger, people have no idea what's happening because when I'm pinging on my way, they don't know if I'm running there, they don't know if I'm O'ring in. Like they're clueless as to what's happening. They don't know if I'm gonna shove my wave and then move. Like it's a bit, and then I just have to pray when I R that they understand that I'm O'ring in, and I just feel like it's not just strictly Pantheon. It could be Shen, Galio. That's just global R's. It could be anything. It could be any champ. But I just think it would add to the competitiveness of the game. I think not having it. I think the negatives of not having it outweigh the positives.
The support role is way easier than all of the other roles.
I can agree.
Stop the cap!
I mean, you're coping if you don't agree.
I severely disagree.
You're lying!
Same.
I liked it.
It is the best role in the game, by far, while being easiest.
Look at our support saying it and the rest are coping.
I think it boils down to... Sorry, I'm giving my opinion first, my bad. It boils down to what's the hardest role to fill and what's the easiest. The easiest role to fill is support. You can have a top main fill support, and I swear he'll perform just as well as a sub player as long as it's not Lathyrus.
Well, to
mid
be
lane, same thing. Jungle, same thing. They can fill support, and they'll do well a majority of the time. Even in Challenger, in Grandmasters, doesn't matter.
Okay, I agree, but I don't agree because isn't your lane the one where people play Diana and Bard and Ivan and just leave the lane because the role is so irrelevant that they don't even have to stay in the lane?
Yeah, but that goes to show how difficult the role is. Because it has the least impact.
Top laner that stays top lane generally loses the game.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
How is that hard then?
That's the difficulty of the role. You've got the least impact on the game, in the map, on the game. I mixed those up, but you know what I'm saying. You've got the least impact,
no,
and now
agree.
you have to try and win.
No, I'm just with you. I agree. I think support is the easiest to fill, and supports are handless when they're not in support.
Agreed.
Coming from top 10 support player. Okay, yeah, Natty?
So like, I think supports deserve some cred because warding is like a skill that a lot of players don't actually have. Because playing without vision is almost impossible, especially the higher elo you come. And like, the difference between like good support and a bad support is insanely like massive.
Oh,
and
100%. But that's not because it's not only the easiest role, but it's also the best role with the highest impact.
Well, I think that
sorry,
ADC is very easy to just like play as well because you can just follow it every call you get ever. Like macro-wise, ADC is probably the easiest for sure. And then mechanically, it's probably like decently difficult, but most like above master players are already decently good at mechanics to be able to play almost any role.
I mean, it's a very controversial opinion. I'd say like support really depends on the champion that you play. I'd say, for example, a Lulu doesn't take as much skill as, for example, a Pyke. And I will die on the hill that easiest role in the game is AD carry, because I f***ing hate all of them.
Very reasonable take.
Except Draktar, obviously.
No, Ezreal players have an exception for me, unironically.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I'm literally an AD main, and I would rather have my support be autofilled than any other role in the game. I'll tell you that.
Really? As an ADC?
Yeah, you are an ADC.
I'm being serious.
What do you mean?
I'm
You'd
being
rather have your
serious.
support be auto-filled, as in...
Yes, I'd if I had to have an autofill on my team, I'd rather be my support than any other.
Oh,
role,
I see what you mean.
Are you a masochist?
No, it makes sense.
Dude, I'm just being serious.
Are you kidding me? Have you
I'm
played
just
with a
being
support
serious.
player that fills jungle?
But like,
Or fills mid?
like
They
support
never
players.
perform, never.
Wait,
It is
okay, maybe
possible.
jungle. But support players just go mid and top, and they just play Karma.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then-
no, that's true. When
and they
supports
come
fill
with- but then what do they play,
go
you know?
Karma or something fancy like Janna or something. But with the exception of top, like if a support fills jungle mid, they're so horrific. And you can see it. They're down 50 CS. They don't know where they need to be on the map. They don't know when to rotate. Like everything's all over the place. If someone else like a mid fills support, you won't even notice until he says something.
In general,
I want to frame it a
it's just
different
that
way.
people played better.
And I want to say, I think support has a, how do I put it, lower skill floor, but has the potential to have a very, very high skill ceiling. Like when you play with Labrov or a really good support, it's like, bro, this motherfucker is top lane, like when there's going to be a fucking top gank, and then he's back bot to cover a dive, and then he's fucking mid covering like a slow push. But then the other supports that you see that have the potential to be Grandmaster and Challenger that are just literally, they got their hand on their cock, literally just being, chilling in lane, and it's like, oh, they've just buffed a Xayah or a Zeri, and they've now won the game, and they're going to just get LP for that, and it's like, the skill 4 can be very, very low, but there is so much potential for the role, because of course, it's just like having another jungler, you know, and jungler is intrinsically the most complex role, if you want to like think of how you can have the agency in a game, you know?
But you have unskilled and skilled people. No, you have unskilled and skilled people in every role. Like, imagine you think so. You think that Grandmaster Lulu player is less skilled than Grandmaster Malphite player top. Who do you think is worse?
Grandmaster Malphite player.
Yeah. So exactly. So how can support be like unskilled in general? It's like such a broad question that it's literally. Like, it really depends on the champion, because there's the same shit mid lane. You can also play Seraph and Zillion Karma mid, and you can just not care about anything and perma roam, and it's the exact same. Or like even like Kassadin nowadays this season, you just buy your Roa, you AFK, you don't farm like even the best minions, but you just don't die. You make sure you don't die, and you're gonna go like 60% win rate. It doesn't matter, you know? It's like the same thing.
That's why it was a good question. It got a very good conversation out of it. It was a very good question.
I agree.
League of Legends is a dying game.
Actually, I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's very hard to come into League. Like new players are very.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get into it.
But the thing is, EU and Asia, it's still growing rapidly, right? But NA, it's dying rapidly.
Okay, so I wanted to start. let's look at the trends of the game since like the year 2000, right? If you look at like
2000, I don't think
No,
the
no,
game
I
was
was,
like
I was
2000.
4.
I wasn't born. That's not my point. But my point is that before, games were super long. Like if you play WoW, you play for hours, and like you needed games where like you needed a really good attention span, right? But I feel like games are fundamentally becoming quicker and quicker, where they're like catering to people's like reptile brains, like zero attention span, gratification. And I feel like fundamentally MOBAs can't fill that gap. And I think that's why in regions like NA, there hasn't been that much growth of the game, right? The game's actually, I think, in decline in NA.
But why do you think it's only declining in NA while it's still growing in EU and Asia?
Because I think there's basically like a saturation point where it's like the game is still growing because it's being shown to new audiences. But in NA, it's already been shown to the audience, so it's saturated. And once it's saturated, it falls off.
But it never peaked as high in NA as it did in any of the other regions.
Oh well, of course. I mean, NA is just a smaller. There's like a smaller people to like. There's a smaller community to cater to than compared to Asia or Europe.
Let's compare to South America then. A region that is also known to favor shooters. A region that is still growing within the League community, where the League like esport is getting huge as well. Why is it growing in South America?
Well, that's the point.
NA?
I think that's still on the same point. It's that they're still in that early phase that other regions are going through. They're in the early phase where they're still playing games like League, shooters. That's why
they got the servers the same years, no?
But the marketing, and also, for example, I'll share my experience that in Algeria, shooting games are more popular, like CS or very low budget games, because they just don't have the computers that can run it. They don't have the internet or the computers that can run MOBA game. And once they go through that phase where they get to play the games, like in South America or in North Africa, then they're gonna go through a part where there's gonna be a big spike, and then it's gonna get saturated, like in NA. And I think the only reason it hasn't happened in EU or in Asia, obviously very good marketing, but also because they're still being shown to new communities. That some people are still discovering the game. I think in NA it's not the case.
Exactly. It's a hard thing to have an opinion about, because like you can say no, I don't think it's dying, and then people will say why, and they would be like, I don't know.
Are people still like downloading it? Because I can't believe, like, I can't imagine starting.
Yeah, I
now.
can't imagine
It feels
now
so
either. Yeah.
overwhelming for people.
Exactly.
If you have bad MMR, you should make a new account and not waste any time.
You are a fucking pussy if you make a new account because bad MMR. Real men.
You're on the wrong side, buddy.
Nah, this guy.
I was like, wait. I thought the question was so one-sided. Yeah,
I expected that from Spear, but not from you.
I expected that from Raion.
Wait, what? Why from
No,
me?
I agree, by the way. You're a pussy, bro.
Listen, your account. The truth is, if you're playing to improve, you'll get to the destination you want. So
The
don't
number
worry about the
doesn't
ways
matter.
now, and play to improve.
Bro.
Well, for me, like they said, it's you're just going in the wrong mindset to improving. So every time you reach a wall, you're just gonna be like, oh well, time to make account number 72. It's like I've seen this happen countless times, where people, what they do is they get a peak, they change their Twitter bio to Masters 500 LP, make a new account, get like Masters 550 LP, change their Twitter bio, and it's like they're just getting like temporary elo, right?
Okay, may I say something? And this might be might start something, but what about TF Blade, who came to EU to get rank 1, got Hardstock Grandmaster, started a new account, leveled it up, duoed with another challenger player, got it Hardstock Grandmaster, and is now maybe making a third account.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. That's
Because like that's right there. That's the question,
it's,
right?
it's literally the prime example. Like you just get the perfect example, right? It's literally that. And also he plays Jax, which is broken. So there's no reason for him to be Hardstock Grandmaster.
I don't care if it's TF Blade or some random solo queue guy. If you're doing that, you're a bitch. Simple.
So
I met him.
I
today.
like
was not too
TF
happy.
No, I like tier plate as well.
I'm not
That's
saying
the
anything
point.
about him. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, he's on his rank 1 journey and he's like, now I'm not getting 44 LP anymore in Challenger. I need to start over. Because
do you
now it's
think-
no longer easy.
But
Yeah.
last
I
week,
only
do you
like him
think
because he
it's,
raided me yesterday. He's a good guy.
What do you
He
think?
shouted, he
But,
shouted
but
me out
do
as
you
well.
think it's really hard to like climb through plus 20, minus 30?
I agree, but
Is rank 1 really rank 1 if you don't get it the right way?
Obviously.
Exactly.
wait,
Like,
Spearshot,
I've gotten rank 1 once a few times during season 11, right?
Yep.
And I don't think people would say I was rank 1 if I did it plus 30, minus 10.
True.
I think it only gets credits when it's actually everyone is banning you out, everyone is trying your hardest. It was the same with Scenarios and whoever
How's
else has
the-
gotten rank 1, right?
Wasn't that what happened with Leader on his like that was season 11 I think too, or maybe season 10 when he got like plus 40
23
almost
loss
in
streak?
Challenger rank 1 basically.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Like
Yeah.
you start losing double the amount you gain, and it feels like shit, yes. But when you get it, holy it feels good.
But that's what makes a rank top 10 player, though.
Sure.